Tautology, a funny way to say the same thing twice. Sally sat in the evening's beautiful setting sun. She heard the sound of crickets with her own ears. She ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that she had made herself. In her opinion, she thought it tasted pretty good. She then decided to go home because she needed to wake up at 6 a.m. to get to work in the morning. What do you think about those sentences above? Do they look okay? Or is something not right? Let's try again, but this time, we'll take out some unnecessary words. Sally sat in the beautiful setting sun. She heard the sound of crickets. She ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that she had made. She thought it tasted pretty good. She then decided to go home because she needed to wake up at 6 a.m. to get to work. Notice that even though we're using fewer words, the meaning of the sentences hasn't changed. That's because all the tautologies have been removed. A tautology is when sentences use different vocabulary but repeat the same idea.
Hello everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Mike.
And I'm Laura.
And today we are beginning a 2-day article with a fancy word in the title. Yeah, it's time to read this, learn about it, and feel really smart. And then you can go home and tell all your friends and your family, today we learned about tautology.
Tautology.
And they'll go, what's tautology?
What is it?
And you'll say, it's a funny way to say the same thing twice.
Okay.
That's what it is. It's
How
a funny
funny?
way. Well, it's kind of funny. It's one of those things that you don't really think about until you learn about it. And then you start to notice it a lot around you, especially as people speak. I think as they write, they have a chance to kind of go back and go, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. But when people speak a lot, they will use different types of tautology. So rather than just getting a dictionary and looking up what does the word mean, let's get into the article and we'll see through some examples what it means. All right, here's a good example of tautology as you might read it. It says, Sally sat in the evening's beautiful setting sun. She heard the sound of crickets with her own ears. There you go. Something you might read in a story, right? And we did have an unusual word there, maybe for you, some of you guys. Cricket. She heard the sound of crickets with her own ears. No, this isn't British cricket, which is like baseball. It's a sport. No, this is an insect. It's a small 6-legged insect. It's kind of like a grasshopper. What's the difference between a cricket and a grasshopper?
I can never tell.
I'm not exactly sure. But our example sentence tells us a cricket makes its unique chirping sound. I can't do it that high. By rubbing its wings together. I'll say that again. A cricket makes its unique chirping sound by rubbing its wings together. I think the grasshopper rubs its legs together. But either way, this is a sound you often hear out in the countryside on a summer's day in many places. So the sound of crickets, she heard them with her own ears.
OK, cricket， 你们一开始就听到这个字哦，就是蟋蟀，它是一个名词。对，我真的觉得它跟 grasshopper 其实也是蟋蟀的意思吧，是差不多的东西。还有呢，螳螂我也很容易 confuse. Praying mantis, they all look the same. But this is something I like. This is an insect I used to like when I was a kid. A beetle 就是金龟子。
What kind of beetle? There's like 4 billion types of beetles.
Cute ones.
Cute ladybugs.
Ladybugs are super cute.
They are very cute.
Okay.
Cockroaches.
No.
That's also a beetle.
Really?
Yes.
Gross.
I know. All right, back to the article.
Okay, well, I want to explain a little bit about some words that we just read. 就是 Sally 坐在晚间的美丽夕阳下，她亲耳听到蟋蟀的声音，哇，听起来好像已经很美丽了。其中的 setting sun 就是落日，而 setting 是现在分词当作形容词来用，就是日落的啦。那我们再继续听下去，这个文章到底哪里有 tautology？
All right, so here's the continuing story. So there she is in the lovely sun, enjoying the sound of the crickets. She ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that she had made herself. All right, a word there, peanut butter, and jelly, popular things to put on toast. Peanuts, of course, are kind of not nuts, but basically it's kind of sort of like a pea or kind of like a bean, but we often dry them and eat them like nuts. You can crush them and make them into peanut butter, which you can put on toast or put in your chocolate desserts. And peanuts are very popular, kind of healthy, but still have lots of fat and probably lots of salt on them. But they're not nuts, everyone. They are legumes.
They're not?
No, they're legumes. Nuts grow on trees. Peanuts grow in the ground, like beans and peas.
Okay, I don't know this.
Tomatoes are fruit. Peanuts are not nuts. It's a shock, but it's true. For example, peanuts are not actually nuts, but are more similar to peas and beans.
Okay, now I know. And
Sorry.
Did we also mention peanut butter and jelly?
We did also mention jelly. Jelly is something that wobbles and wiggles. And what is jelly? It's kind of a solid. It's not a liquid. It's something that we can make through certain types of process. If you boil things down, certain types of animal product, you can get a meat gelatin. You can also make it using sugar and other things to kind of make it very thick. And you can give it flavor. A lot of people like to eat jelly with sort of fruit flavors. And we can also talk about jelly as being like a jam, but with less fruit, I think. I think you boil the fruit until it's liquid to make jelly, but when you make jam, there's still pieces of fruit in there. As a kid, Malcolm loved to eat grape jelly with toast. Yeah, apple jelly, grape jelly, guava jelly, mango jelly.
Guava jelly?
Oh yeah, very popular in the Caribbean. Yum.
I had no idea. I want to try it.
But most other fruit would probably be jam.
Okay. So peanut 应该我们都知道就是花生，那花生酱就是 peanut butter. I think peanut butter is a fun and delicious spread for sandwiches. 超好吃的花生酱 I love them. And jelly 要加果酱才是真的很棒哦，在国外他们都很喜欢吃这个东西。So besides peanut butter and jelly, you can also try other types of jams such as strawberry, raspberry, or apricot. I tried that when I was in Australia.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah, so pretty healthy sounding. Okay, 所以课文呢，他有提到说，哇，他吃了一个自己做的花生酱和果酱的三明治。那这里呢，其中我们要停了一下，因为出现了今天的 language in focus. So let's take a look. 今天 language in focus 要看到哇，很重要，就是现在完成式 versus 现在完成进行式，还有过去完成式，大家会不会常搞混呢？首先，我们先来看一下现在完成式，就是动作或者是事件横跨过去到现在哟，所以重点在于动作累积的结果。句型是什么呢？主词接 have or has， 再加 PP。OK， 那现在完成式其实也有被动语态，也就是主词加 have or has， 再加 been， 再加 PP。举个例子，我比较清楚哦。The old building has been renovated into a modern art gallery， 意思就是那座老建筑已经被改建成现代艺术馆。再来就是现在完成进行式哦，是强调什么呢？从过去一直持续到现在，而将会持续下去哦。那重点在于动作到今后的延续。我们来看一下句型长什么样子呢？就是动词加 have or has been， 然后后面接 VING。像是这个是 true story. I have been binge watching Korean dramas for the past week, and I plan to continue doing so in the coming days. 我过去一星期到现在一直都在追韩剧，而且我计划接下来的日子也要继续一直追剧，但是可能也要睡觉啦。再来，我们来看一下过去完成式呢，又是什么呢？它通常是描述过去发生的两件事件哦。那先发生的事情要用过去完成式，后来发生的事情要用过去简单式来表达，这样我们就可以知道哪一个时间顺序是比较先的。For example, I had finished dinner when the new Netflix show started. 还是追剧相关的例句哦。当新的 Netflix 节目开始时，我已经吃完晚餐了。所以意思就是我很早就吃完晚餐了。再举一个例子哦。He arrived at the party late because he had forgotten to set his alarm clock. 他因为忘记设定闹钟而晚到了派对。这里有没有发现更 早的过去就是什么呢？忘记设闹钟，不然他怎么会迟到呢？
All right, so Sally's sitting there enjoying the sunset, listening to the crickets, eating her PB&J, that's peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And back to the article, in her opinion, this is Sally thinking, in her opinion, she thought it tasted pretty good. That's the sandwich, not the crickets, right?
No.
She's eating the sandwich.
Unless she's in Thailand.
Not you, well, she might. And she then decided to go home because she needed to wake up at 6 a.m. to get to work in the morning. All right, a simple story, and it didn't sound that unusual, but we'll get to the language and how it was written in a moment.
OK， 所以在 Sally 看来，她认为，刚刚的那个三明治还不错哦。然后她决定回家，因为她需要在早上6点醒来去上班。So, yeah, that's a boring story.
It's a simple story.
It's a story.
It's not Shakespeare, but we're trying to prove a point and get you guys to think. So here are some things to think about. What do you think about those sentences above? Yeah, pretty normal. Do they look okay?
Yeah.
Or is there something not right? You might want to go back, read it again, and then you can think about if something is not quite right, because as we go on, it says, let's try again. But this time we'll take out some unnecessary words. So same story, but all of the unnecessary, extra, not needed, not required words have been removed, and you'll notice it's much leaner and meaner. We have this example sentence for you talking about things that are unnecessary, they're not required, they're not needed, they're not wanted. Why do you have that thing, or why did you say that thing? There's no point. For example, since we'll be staying in Egypt during the dry season, I think an umbrella and raincoat will be unnecessary.
No.
It ain't gonna rain in Egypt during. Have you seen Egypt? There are camels there.
You need water, though.
Right, umbrellas and raincoats not necessary.
Unnecessary 其实就是不必要的哦。如果拿掉它的字首，当然就成为它的相反词 necessary， 也就是必要的，都是形容词哦。举例来说 ，learning to say no to unnecessary commitments is essential for maintaining a healthy work-life balance. Or even school life balance. OK， 学会对不必要的承诺说不，对于保持健康这个工作跟生活的平衡很重要哦。那刚刚课文提到就说，我们这些句子你们有没有觉得哪里怪怪的呢？不过这时候他们要是再讲一次，而且这一次要拿掉不必要的词汇哦。So let's hear this without a lot of unnecessary
All
words.
the extra junk taken out. Okay. Here we go. Here's the lean, mean version. Sally sat in the beautiful setting sun. She heard the sound of crickets. She ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that she had made. She thought it tasted pretty good. She then decided to go home because she needed to wake up at 6 a.m. to get to work. I think you can already see that it's shorter, it gets to the point.
Right.
You can even go back and compare sentence by sentence to see what unnecessary words have been removed.
Right.
And then you'll really see clearly.
I see, for example, they took out she made it by herself, the by herself.
She had to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Because a.m. morning, same thing. 所以意思其实是一样的，可是你有没有发现有一些字就是废话或是赘述的东西已经被拿掉咯。So let's get back to the article and find out why this is better.
Yeah, well, they basically say what you mentioned there. Notice that even though we're using fewer words, the meaning of the sentences hasn't changed. So you can count the number of words. Notice it's much smaller, but the story still is the same. It tells the same story, just with fewer words.
对啊，大家有没有发现，即使用的词变少了，他还是讲到他吃了这个三明治，然后听到蟋蟀的声音等等，然后6点要起床哦。Even though 就是尽管，虽然，注意哦，它不能跟 but 在同一个句子连用哦，它也是等于 although 的意思。For example, even though I was tired, I stayed up late to finish watching the movie. Okay. Yeah, I love binge watching.
Well, that's a good thing to do, but it is a little surprising because you were tired, you would expect you to go to bed, but you stayed up anyway. So why is this shorter and why is the meaning the same? Well, that's because all the tautologies have been removed. There you go. We took out the tautologies, or the unnecessary words that kind of say the same thing twice. When you remove something, you take it out in the same way that I'm going to take Laura out of the next shot.
Oh, okay.
So yes, you can see we have removed Laura from the show for now, but don't worry, she'll be back. Don't go anywhere. She will come back. But to remove basically is just to take something away, to take something off. You might remove your shoes when you go home. You will hopefully remove your clothes before you have a shower, because that would be weird if you didn't. You can also remove things from places. You can remove people from teams. You can remove basically anything if it was there and you don't want it to be there. You'll take it away. You'll remove it, you'll take it off or something like that. Here's Valerie. Valerie is welcome at my house anytime because it says Valerie removed her shoes before she went into the house, especially if they're wet and dirty. Yuck.
Remove 就是去除、移除。Yeah, I'm back. Okay, for example,
she's been restored.
I need to remove the stain from my favorite shirt.
Oh, good luck with that. What was it, a PB&J stain?
No, it was soy sauce, even worse.
It's
Okay, 所以刚刚课文我们提到就是什么东西被删除了，就是 tautology. What is it?
A tautology this is the part where we feel smart.
Okay.
A tautology is when sentences use different vocabulary, but repeat the same idea. So you're not saying the same word again, but you're saying something that has the same meaning again. And of course, this will make your vocabulary maybe sound fancy, but it also makes your story kind of boring because you're saying the same thing over and over. Vocabulary is basically just a collection of words, probably in a certain language or maybe for a certain topic or field. Medical vocabulary is something doctors and nurses use all the time. We might know some of that kind of hospital doctor vocabulary, but not necessarily. But when you're studying English words for a test, in that case, you're also learning common English vocabulary or words from a certain language or system or something like that. Here's an example. A lot of French, Spanish, and Italian vocabulary comes from Latin.
Yeah.
So if you learn Latin vocabulary, then some other languages will be a little familiar.
Okay, the roots, right?
Roots.
Okay, vocabulary 就是词汇，它是一个名词。For example, she enjoys playing word games to expand her vocabulary, just like you with the crossword puzzles. Okay, tautology 到底是什么呢？就是它同义重复、冗词或者是赘述，就是指这个句子使用了不同的词汇，但是重复了相同的想法啊。所以呢，就是有时候有点太废话。Well, that comes to the end of today's Day 1 article. Should we move on to our For You Check question?
Let's do that. Let's go to our For You Check question, which is, have you ever used a tautology without realizing it? Please share your experience. Please share a time that has happened in your life. Please share what you have actually personally had encountered in your... I'm using tautologies here.
Okay, so you're sharing an experience.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. I have used a tautology without realizing it. Okay, I'm going to use that sentence pattern. When I was talking about my favorite dessert, I said I love eating ice cream, especially, here comes, frozen ice cream.
Oh, yeah, that's
it was funny when my friends pointed out that, ice cream is already frozen.
I've never had boiled ice cream.
No, I know.
No, that would just be kind of... really sweet cream.
I know, but I was using a tautology to describe something so delicious.
Okay.
What about frozen yogurt? That would work.
Frozen yogurt, that would be okay.
But not frozen ice cream.
Not frozen ice or frozen ice. Can I have some frozen ice in my drink?
That's kind of
ice
funny.
Is frozen water. Yeah. All right, there you go. A good example of one. You might notice this when you're watching people in interviews. If you ever want to find some tautology, watch an athlete be interviewed. They often use a lot of tautologies. It's really good to be the winner and to be victorious today and to be the champions. You basically say the same three.
Or like, personally, I think.
Personally, I think.
That's like...
Yeah, like no one else can think for you,
seriously.
And personally means for you. All right, 2 other examples there. Thanks for joining us, guys. We will see you tomorrow, the day after today.
Vocabulary Review. Cricket. My little sister found a cricket in the yard and watched it hop around on the grass. Peanut. One of my favorite dishes is Thai noodles with chicken and peanuts. Jelly. I like to put strawberry jelly on my toast, but my sister doesn't like it because it's too sweet. Unnecessary. Buying a new toy when you already have many of them is unnecessary and a waste of money. Remove. Please remove all your food from the fridge so we can clean it. Vocabulary. Vocabulary. When learning a new language, it's a good idea to learn the most basic vocabulary first.